The ocean breathes, a slow and steady rhythm against the shore. For centuries, it has kept its secrets locked away in the deep, dark quiet. Along the coast of India, fishermen cast their nets into these waters, their lives tied to the whims of the tide. For generations, they passed down stories, not just of fish and storms, but of something else. They spoke of a place where their nets would sometimes snag on unnatural shapes, on corners too sharp to be rock. They whispered of a lost city, a place of stone and spirit, long ago surrendered to the sea. It was a story you might hear on a quiet night, a tale spun from moonlight and memory, a myth. But science, in its own way, also listens to whispers. It seeks patterns in the noise, facts in the fables. The search did not begin with a treasure map, but with data. It began with the tools of our time, tools that allow us to see what our eyes cannot. The first hint came not from the ocean itself, but from space. Satellites circling the Earth captured detailed images of the coastline. Scientists trained to read Earth's curves noticed something unusual. Beneath shallow waters, faint but distinct lines appeared. Too straight, too geometric. Nature rarely builds in perfect right angles. A flicker of excitement. Was it a trick of the light, a flaw in the image, or the first glimpse of something extraordinary? The team turned from the sky to the sea. They brought in special ears, side-scan sonar. This tool sees with sound. It sends pulses, listens to echoes, and maps the seabed. The boat moved slowly, methodically, sweeping back and forth. In the dark, a picture began to form. The sonar painted a portrait of the deep. What it revealed was astonishing. Walls, foundations, and an unmistakable network of streets. The next phase required courage and a different kind of seeing. Time for human eyes to witness what machines suggested. As they descended, the light faded and the water grew colder. They entered another realm where time moves differently. Armed with lights, they followed the sonar maps, searching for the structures from their screens. And then, they saw it. The unmistakable shapes of cut stone blocks, laid one atop another. They found walls, some still standing several feet high, cloaked in barnacles and seaweed. They swam along what felt like a street, flanked by foundations of ancient homes. A moment of profound awe. To drift past a doorway where a family once lived is to connect with the past in a way no map can. But human divers have limits: the pressure, the cold, the air. So the team deployed ROVs, eyes and hands that never tire. They could enter tight spaces and hover for hours, carefully retrieving small artifacts, precious clues. Once the artifacts reached the surface, a new exploration began, not at sea, but in a laboratory. Here, scientists asked a fundamental question: how old are you? They used radiocarbon dating. Living things absorb carbon-14. When they die, absorption stops. Carbon-14 decays at a predictable rate. By measuring what remains, we can date wood, bone, and cloth. Divers recovered timber and charcoal, perfect samples. The results were breathtaking, thousands of years old, not a recent town. This pushed history back. They studied pottery in minute detail, clay sources and styles. Local manufacture and distant trade left signatures. From bones and sediments, they extracted ancient DNA. It revealed diet, rice, millet, fish, and ancestry within the subcontinent. A well-established society, farming, fishing, part of wider migrations. Science turned mystery into a dated chapter of human history. The city now had an age, but who were its people? Each shard read, like a page, artistry, trade, tradition. With data from dives and lab tests, scientists could begin to rebuild the city. Imagination guided by fact, the maps showed order and design. A planned grid, not an organic sprawl. Main thoroughfares were wide, carts or processions perhaps. Smaller alleys branched into homes, layouts suggest rooms around courtyards, broken pots, grinding stones, simple beads, everyday life. One massive foundation could be a public granary, food safeguarded. At the center, an elevated structure dominated. Carved pillars and panels, monumental architecture, likely a temple or civic hall, the community's heart. Ceremonies, festivals, decisions, beliefs and hierarchy. Leaders, priests, artisans, all parts of a complex society. Imagine the marketplace. Sounds. Grains, spices, salt and dried fish from the sea. Children playing, stones shaped, clay spun on the wheel, sophisticated water management, drains and channels. Every discovery has a moment when the known and unknown collide. Here science met ancient local myths. Old poems spoke of a port city, ruled by a wise king, famed for 7 temples, each to a different deity. The gods, angered, sent the sea to swallow the city in a day. Only the highest spire remained, a warning. Science began to find echoes in its data. Not 7, but multiple major structures clustered ceremonially. The largest stood on the highest point. They uncovered a carved stone stele, a figure holding a trident, linked to Shiva, lord of destruction and transformation. Myths populated the city with gods. Archaeology found a symbol to match. Trade claims held. Inland clays and carnelian supported a bustling hub. The timelines diverged. Myth compressed what nature stretched. A myth is not a report, it is a dramatized memory. The core truth endured. A great coastal city lost to water. Science did not disprove the myth. It uncovered the event behind it. When myth meets measurement, stories deepen, memory finds its evidence. Why did this city end up beneath the sea? Sediment and coastal geology say it wasn't one monstrous wave. Multiple forces, slow and relentless, did the work. Gradual sea level rise. Warmer periods melt ice, oceans swell. A few feet per century devastates coastal cities. Margines flood first, fields and harbors. They likely built defenses, walls against the sea. But the ocean is a hard foe. Salt invaded wells and fields. Earthquakes shook the region. Subsidence could drop a city in minutes. One day could feel like total destruction. Rivers change course, cutting off fresh water and trade. Without water and commerce, cities weaken. Rising seas, a sinking coast, a shifting river. A slow, then sudden perfect storm sealed the city's fate. Nature claimed it, patiently, irrevocably, and the ocean kept the secret for a time. The city's awakening sends ripples far beyond science. It rewrites a chapter: engineering, urban planning, maritime trade. For locals, grandparents' tales are validated. Pride surges, tourism follows, opportunity and risk. Unregulated access can harm what time preserved. Scientists, government, and community must protect it. Declare reserves, manage access, embrace sustainability. Teach through museums, VR, and curated displays. A city returns to memory, streets mapped, pottery dated. Curiosity stitched myth to science. Wonders remain under seas, sands, and forests. Truth lived in carbon-14 and in an old poem, in sonar echoes and a fisherman's story. Respecting both deepened understanding. The water now feels like a library, a museum, a sacred ground. It holds a message: rising seas and changing climate. Resilience and adaptation are our charge. The ocean keeps its secrets, then shares them with the patient and the humble. Nothing is lost if remembered.